Today's collectible spot, we are having a look at the WorldBox Mortal Kombat Scorpion 6 scale figure. This is an early production figure. The figure itself is going to be released later into the year. And unfortunately, I don't have the original box for it. The folks over at WorldBox sent this my way, but I only have the insert box available for it. But you can see even from the insert box how Scorpion's going to come with a couple of different accessories. He comes with some swords, interchangeable head, and he also comes with a diorama display in the back there. If you guys are interested, I can provide the link down below to WorldBox. If you want to check out some of the other stuff that they've got going on. They're relatively new, but they are releasing a ton of really cool 6 scale figures, one of which, the one I'm really excited to eventually get, is the Resident Evil Nemesis. And they're the company responsible for making that. Spot's going to take a break. I'm going to get this opened up. And when we come back, we're getting a better look at the WorldBox Mortal Kombat Scorpion 6 scale figure. There's more heading away, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. First thing we will have a look at for Scorpion is he comes with a cardboard floor or bottom that the figure can stand on. Now, this is an early product release, so the final figure may not come with this, but this was what was included with him initially, is just this desert base, and then you got the dragon logo featured on either side. And we can just put him on the display stand. Again, I'm not sure if the final production of this figure will give us something a little bit more elaborate of a display stand, but for the time being, we have that. He also comes, or came, with a kind of silhouette character engulfed in flames. It's also got that satin finish to it. Comes with a couple of cardboard struts, though I feel like the cardboard struts, and this again, because this is an early production figure, may be changed at the time that it gets released. You get a little cardboard display character as well that you can display next to Scorpion here. Just a couple of additions that you would want to add to the figure as well. Let's go ahead and pop the hands off. There we go. I took off more than I needed to take off, but that's okay. I take off the other hand because Scorpion also comes with his gauntlets. And we'll slide it on one hand. And we'll slide it on the other forearm here as well. Let's go ahead and add the hands back into place. There we go, there's one. And let's add the other one here. Keeps it consistent, certainly with the legs as well. The boots and the gauntlets now match. I suppose theoretically you could keep them off, but I think it's a better look keeping, have the gauntlets included. So let's have a better look at the figure. I think as a whole, it's really good. A few hiccups here and there, but for the most part, I think WorldBox did a really great job on Scorpion here. They also produced Sub-Zero, so it looks like they're probably going to be doing all the characters from the Mortal Kombat properties. There's certain characters I'd love to see over others. Maybe Scorpion, we've got Sub-Zero. I'd love to see them really try to tackle a larger character too, like a Goro. Not sure if that's going to be possible, but I mean, seeing what they've done now with Sub-Zero, seeing what they've now done with Scorpion, I think it is very possible for a company like them to give us a Goro. The figure itself is, well, it's not quite the Scorpion that Spot grew up with. When I was in high school, Mortal Kombat was like the go-to. In fact, Mortal Kombat 2 was my go-to game. I used to play that all the time after school with my friends. And the figure is a lot different than the Scorpion that I grew up with. When I was younger, Scorpion was basically just like a black outfit character with the yellow sash and then the hood and then the yellow mask, which essentially was the same for a lot of the ninja characters in the game, especially like, Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero is really essentially the same as Scorpion, just swapping out the yellow for the blue. And it's not until the later games that they went a little bit more elaborate when it came to the outfits, and this is what WorldBox has given us here. A much more detailed than just the straight original outfit that we saw with Scorpion. Getting a look at his face, I really think it looks awesome. He's got the white pupils, which I think is perfect for Scorpion, and there's this redness around the eye area. The remaining of his outfit, where it's not yellow, the black is more I feel like it's almost more like a darker gray, and it's been washed with a silver treatment just to pop some of the details. It almost gives him a more scaled look, or like a chainmail look, like a medieval armor, and that carries over from his head all the way down to his chest and into the leg area. And spin around the back of the figure. Again, some other details going on there. This area here will hold his swords. I'll show you guys that in a second as well. The rest of the color, where it's not this grayish, dark gray color, is more of a gold. And I think it really pops. It's a good choice of gold, too. It's not overly yellow. It's more of a darker, kind of a brownish gold than anything else. And even the areas in between his mask are slotted with the same gray treatment that they've put on the rest of the cowl. Really, excluding the side arms, the majority of the figure is this dark gray, the gold, and the little accent areas of the black, especially like down by the shin guards here, where you've got these skull accents. I like these a lot. It's a little bit darker, it seems, than the body, or at least the outfit of the body. It seems a little bit darker there as well, and it's got a darker black wash in there, so the eyes stand out. The default look, though, is probably to have him displayed such as what you see right here. However, the folks over at WorldBox also give you a couple of other interchangeable options, too. One of the head options, and it's not really so much for Scorpion, but one of the interchangeable heads that he comes included with is an interchangeable head for Kung Lao, one of the other figures that WorldBox produced. And it swaps out the default head that he would have come with this big gashed head, completely opened up on the top of him, very bloodied. He's got blood trickling down the side of his face. It also serves this gash as a perfect place for the chain that we will be looking at in a second, but the chain dagger can fit right inside that crease. There's not really a section where it fits per se, but you can get the dagger wedged right into Kung Lao's head. The other head that comes included with Scorpion is, well, more so for him. It's the unmasked skull face that he uses to dispense his finisher. And also, WorldBox gives you a couple of fiery eye socket accessories. You just plug that into one, plug it into the other, and you can add a little bit of extra oomph to the head. It's a really neat touch. One of the accessories to come included with Scorpion is this ball of fire. And the reason why I wanted to look at this one first is you can do, ideally, it's intended really for his hands. You can take the fireball and put it into his hands. However, what you could also do too, reaching back to the skull that we had a look at before, it's not really intended for this, so just be warned of that. But what you can do also too is take the fireball, and instead of having it this way, you could tilt it this way, and you have to, it's not quite a perfect fit because it's not really intended for it, but you could have the fire coming out of his mouth as if he's blowing fire against his opponent. Again, it's not really intended for that. It's really intended for a fireball in his hand, but you can kind of see how, you know, you can kind of get it going to kind of look like it's a pretty successful look, even though, again, you're not really supposed to put it in his mouth. And that's what it looks like on the neck here. However, I did have to actually leave the head off the ball joint just to get the fire in there. You can do a little bit more of adjusting, but it does take up a lot of space to get the fire to come out of his head like this. I've actually, again, just sat the head on top of the ball joint rather than pushing it down into the base. A couple of other accessories that come included with Scorpion. He gets his dual blades. And the blades match almost that of his outfit with the darker gold color there and a silver blade. You can either take the swords and fit them in his hand like that, or what you can also do too, on the back he's got a sheath or an area that he can hold the swords. It does fit both of them, although you have to do a little bit of adjusting to get both swords to fit in there. It's usually easy to get the one sword in, and then the other sword you have to kind of tuck around it. There we go. And he can hold the swords like that. But I'm sure the one accessory you would expect to come with Scorpion is his chain daggers. And WorldBox gives you real metal chains, which is a nice touch. And there's the dagger on the end. And to get these on his hand, there really isn't a section that tabs into place. What you want to do is grab his hand. And hopefully, I think this one hand, let's try this hand here. You need to pull it off, but you need to get the joint still there. And then this drapes over, just like that. And then you can replace the hand. And while you're doing that, the gauntlet might move on you. There we go. And he's got the chain this way. But the thing is with the chain, being that it's a real chain, there is no way for him to be displayed with the chain extended out. You know, the get over here, the chain actually won't extend. It'll just by natural gravity will stay low. It will just drop low from his arm. So, I mean, you could display it, you can wrap the chain around his arm, or you could have him, you know, you could have him holding the chain over his one hand. I wish there was a way that they had included maybe like a pre-sculpted chain that just is already, like, it's already displayed to be extended out. Or if you could mount this, maybe have like a little string or something from your display cabinet, you could have it displayed that way. I wish, though, that this would have been a sculpted piece, you know, maybe one real chain and then one sculpted chain that you could have had it look as if it was being shot out from his sleeve. And in the case of the chains with the dagger, you get two of them. So you can have them extended out from both of his sleeves. I guess it's not that bad of a look to have them just extended and draped down, but I wish there was just a more dynamic way to display these. When it comes to Scorpion's articulation, he does have the ball joint at the base, or what will connect to the head, but then he's got a secondary base at the base of the neck. Between those two, you get a lot of different motion options when posing his head. His shoulders are hinged. They hinge out, as well as you can rotate them all the way around. You will find it, though, when you get to the shoulder area here. If you do want to rotate it all the way around, it's going to hit this back section here. So I would say that's probably about as far back as the arms will rotate. Not to say that you would want to have them any further than that. He does have a bend in the elbow, which also rotates the forearm. And as you've already seen, he's got a hinge in the hand. When it comes to the torso actually basically, like, this area here is a little bit more limited. He does have the crunch in the top of the torso and a swivel in the waist, but he's basically wearing this outfit from the base or the neck area all the way down to the knee area. So areas such as the waist, and I find especially when you get to the legs do fight with this material that they've put over top of it. It's kind of like a rubbery material, and it is again limit a little bit of posability options when moving, especially like the legs out. If you had the legs out and you kind of have them standing, it prevents the legs from buckling back in, but like as soon as you lift the legs, you can see how the legs come back in because of this being a denser rubber. Really nice sculpt, but it does limit some posability options there. He has a swivel point at the top cut of his thigh, and he does have a double bend at the knee, but he's wearing a material outfit underneath, which does limit that a little bit as well. And finally, he's got a ball hinge in his foot. Finally, the last thing Spot will show you just before we wrap this video up is that he does have interchangeable hands. He's got a total of 4 hands, and I've swapped one of the hands now for the open, grasping, get over here hand. I think that's a better fit for displaying the figure. Again, I wish there was a way that the chain could have been just somehow displayed. Maybe I might consider using like a string or something like that to have the chain extended out. But definitely this hand, I think, is a far better way to display one of my favorite Mortal Kombat characters from the game. Overall, I think WorldBox did a great job on the figure, but never got a chance to have a look at the Sub-Zero. But I've always really loved Scorpion. The new deco, the more updated deco, is a little bit more of a change than when I initially was playing the Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat 2 games in high school. But still, it's a fan favorite of mine to finally have Scorpion in hand. WorldBox also, again, is producing a ton of other Mortal Kombat figures. We had a look at Scorpion, but they are going to be producing other ones as well. And they're also the same company that, as I mentioned, is going to be doing the Resident Evil Nemesis figure. And I am super excited to get my hands on that. Today's collectible spot, we were having a look at the WorldBox Mortal Kombat Scorpion 6 scale figure. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more collectible spots heading your way. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.